Happy Wednesday, YouTube. We are back with another trade video. Today I'm going to go over an ABCD pattern that I took this morning, as well as a break of low of day pattern that I traded. Two of those I was red and one of those were green. I will show you where I had to stop out in order to minimize my losses. As always, if you enjoy the video, please feel free to give me a thumbs up and also subscribe if you haven't already. Let's head over to the charts. Okay guys, here is the first trade that I attempted this morning, which was supposed to be an ABCD pattern. I missed the first initial setup, which I wanted was the break over VWAP, but unfortunately I was looking at another stock. So I did miss that, and what I did from there is I sat back and I said, okay, let me wait and see if this forms an ABCD or maybe a bounce off of something, and then I'll take that trade. So what I did is I waited for this bounce off of here, which I set as my A. I let this run up. This was a good setup here, which is what we wanted. We wanted it to make a high, go up, make another high, but fail to close at that high, and then make a move down to form a C, let it sell off, and then what we wanted was a push back over R5 and then a push up higher. Unfortunately, that is not what we got. What we got was a pull back, and it tried to push, but it just could not go above R5. And as you see here, it resisted at R5 to the T. Now, the biggest thing that we're going to take away from this is my entry. I entered way too soon into this stock. And unfortunately, the reason I did that is because I was looking at the L2, and honestly, I was looking at the time and sales as well. And the time and sales, I saw a lot of green flashing, and I thought that maybe this stock was going to use this level instead of the 9 EMA to bounce up and start forming the C to D pattern. That was my initial thought. Unfortunately, this stock did pull back down to the 9 here. Now, this would have been an okay entry. If I wouldn't have done this, taken this bounce off the 9, and then you saw this make a new high, this here would have not been a bad entry at all. This would have been the high of the new candle. We had a 5 red candles on the 1 minute, and then the next candle to make a new high would have been here, and that would have coincided with the 9 EMA. That would have been a good entry for an ABCD pattern. That would have been A, B, C, and then a pop up. And we could have took an entry here, and then we could have been aiming for a target up here for our D. And even if it wouldn't have made it that high, which it didn't, we could have at least had a partial here at R5, and then just set our break even. That way, once it made this move back down, we could have just broke even and been fine. Unfortunately, I got in way too early because I was more focused on the time and sales than I was the actual chart patterns. So what happened is you see it right in front of you. I stopped out once it went below the 9 EMA. I try to keep my stop losses very tight, and this was actually a really big loser, just for the amount of size that I took on this stock. But at the same time, you know, it would have popped higher if I would have just held on to it. The next candle, I could have even went green on it. But that's just the way I am. I would rather take this loss and keep my stop loss where I initially have it than to become the same trader that I used to be, where I would just turn a day trade into a hold and hope trade. Which I've done many times, and that's when you start carrying bags. They look something like this, and they have a nice little handle on it, and maybe they're Gucci, I don't know, maybe they're Chanel bags. But what happens is you start carrying this bag right around here, and you start adding, averaging down, and the next thing you know, you're carrying this bag down for about $3, and your account's blown up. So we're not going to be carrying any bags anymore. Respect your stop loss. I took a loss on this trade, but guess what? My account is still intact, and I still have money to trade another day. So that was the ABCD pattern that I attempted to trade. What we're going to go over to now is the low of day that I took on AMC. Let's go. Okay, we are now on AMC. This is where I took my first 2 trades of the morning. As you can see, the setup that I first took was the break of low of day, which was this candle here. AMC actually gave a really good move. Again, this was a perfect open and range breakdown off of this first candle. We saw this move up and then move back down. If I would have better, I'm just not a really good orb trader just yet. I normally like things to shake out before I trade, but I'm hoping to get better at that. I'm hoping to get better at the orbs as time goes along. This would have been a really good entry at S3, or you could have waited till it hit the VWAP right here and then taken a short. That would have been fine. But what I did is once it showed me this red candle here, I went ahead and took a short, which I was hoping for the break of this level and a continuation to move down. Unfortunately, it started moving back up and I stopped out immediately. It was a very, very close stop loss. I was not going to risk AMC ripping back above VWAP and then going to the moon. Anybody that trades AMC knows that AMC can easily go from 45.5 to 50.5 in a candle. So I was not going to get blown up on that one. So that was my stop out. Now the candle right after that is where I re-entered for another low of day. So we still used the same level here. And once I saw that it could not go up and reclaim VWAP or even go up and reclaim the 9 EMA, I went ahead and took another break of low of day, which would have been right around this level what we were looking for. And that's exactly what happened. We had our first initial move on a large red candle here and a really big move down to the S4 Camarilla pivot point, which is where I went ahead and took all my profits. You may ask why I took all my profits here. Well, it was really to cover the stop loss that I had taken up here, and I wanted to go ahead and break even on this trade. As you can see, we were really extended. We were really good on this red candle here, but this red candle here could have easily turned green, and that's really what was my catalyst to go ahead and take profits. Now, once it did lose this level, as you can see, it bounced around and just could not do anything in there. We already had this level here, which was actually off of some previous day's candles. So at any rate, that was the 3 trades I took today. The low of day here, which failed and I stopped out, and then a low of day here, which actually worked out. I'll let you look at the volume candles for yourself and see if you can determine how those volume candles coincided with the movement of these candles up here, and go ahead and get an idea of your own of when you would have taken the trade or if you would have taken it at all. Okay guys, thank you for checking out this video. I hope you found it helpful and educational. I'll be back next time with a new trading recap. For now, hope you guys have a good rest of the day. Take care.